Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's been a little while since we've worked on this Farmall H. So let's see. Where did we leave off the last time? The front bolster and pedestal have been separated, and I've got them just stacked out of the way here in the corner. Eventually I will get into these because they need a lot of cleaning. And I've got to inspect bearings and see if they're still good or if I got to replace those. The head has been sitting on my workbench forever. My trashed workbench desperately needs a cleaning. So I've mentioned in a couple of previous videos that I've got to strip this. One thing I have discovered is that, especially the intake valves, they are really recessed. So I'm looking most likely at having to do all the seats and probably have to replace a couple of valves as well. You can tell by this straight edge that there is all kinds of unevenness along these valve stems here. Some are flush with the ruler and others there's big gaps. So the seats are definitely worn out and probably got a couple of weak springs as well. So this head is pretty well clapped out. These old tractors really tell a story if you're willing to listen. Obviously, this battery box has been cut down, or actually just the end cut off of it by a previous owner. Remember, this is 6-volt tractor and the batteries were smaller back in the day. And somebody put a 12-volt battery in here. I hope they didn't roast the starter because it's still a 6-volt system. Well, they cut the end off here to allow for a larger 12-volt battery. And the hold down, I love it. This is reminiscent of my HAVAC days back in the day before my naval shipyard career. That is a chunk of S-cleat used to connect pieces of rectangular and square ductwork together. S and drive. I made thousands of feet of this stuff when I was a young fella back in the day, running lock former machines and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to retain that just for character. So my goal over the next couple of days is finish stripping this block and get the water pump and fan off, get the governor off, get the distributor drive off, oil filter housing. I think I've mentioned that in previous videos. And then there's this bolt. There's another one on the opposite side. I got to pull the starter out. I think there's one or two hidden back there. And I'm not sure what's going on here. I know there's dowel pins in here, but typically I've been looking at other Farmall H restorations on YouTube. There's no threaded bolt coming in through the back side of the bell housing. I'm hoping that somebody just used that as a dowel pin because I believe, yeah, I don't have the same situation on this side. Well, I take that back. Yes, I do, right there. So I'm going to have to pull that hydraulic pump off, open up that access and get a light in there and see what's going on. I did pull the inspection cover off the bottom of the bell housing, and then there's the typical mouse nest in there. And also a lot of oil. So I'm assuming the rear main seal on the engine let go. And so pretty sure the clutch is going to be bad. So I'm going to strip off those parts that I just mentioned. But before I take out any remaining bolts holding the engine to the bell housing, we got to make a support stand. I got these big bolts on each side of the bell housing. I got to get some angle iron together and fabricate a support stand. Then I can get all this cribbing and jacks out from under there to give me more room. And then get those last bolts loose, and then I can hang the engine from the cherry picker, and then we'll get it mounted to the engine stand. So that'll free up, get this hoist out of the way, and that'll free up more room. So let me grab some tools. Let's get started. Sorry about the fan noise in the background. It's July in southeast Arizona. We are high 90s, low 100s. So I got to keep the portacool running so I don't die in here. Well, this governor is being particularly pestiferous. I mean, it moves, but there's a spiral gear in there that connects to a gear here, part of the timing chain setup. So I think what I'm going to have to do is pull the water pump off, pull the timing chain cover off, and then I think that will help me get that loose. I watched a couple of other YouTube videos where guys were able to hold their tongue just right and wiggle that thing around enough to get that spiral gear to disengage, but I don't want to risk damaging anything, so all this stuff's coming off anyway. So I'll do that and we'll continue on. Well, I got lucky. I was rotating the fan to access the bolts on the back side, and this started to walk out. So I think we got success. You can get the governor off without pulling the water pump and the timing chain cover. All right. That impeller looks really good. And everything feels tight, so the bearings might still be okay in here. Well, whoever painted this tractor last, it's a real quality prep work. They painted right over the old, hard, dried up grease and oil. Yeah! I must have known this guy in the past. Well, I've discovered why there's so much dried oil and dirt caked on up here. This case has been, front cover's been busted sometime in the past. Somebody welded it up. Probably didn't seal it good all the way. I suspect right in here, well, the engine's running, oil's leaking, and the fan is blowing towards the engine, taking all that oil up here and collecting dirt. So yeah, that's a little discouraging. When I get this cover off, I'm pretty sure it's cast iron. I'll see if I can't clean that up and then use some bronze brazing rod and braze it up. Okay, we got a fold over lock here. I'm gonna bend up the tab and see if I can get this nut off. Then we'll get a puller on here and see if we can get this bottom pulley off. And then we'll start pulling all the bolts out of this cover and get that front cover off of there. The pulley is off, along with the associated nut and fold over lock and all that good stuff. So yeah, we're making progress here. I think next I'll get that distributor off of there and the housing it mounts to, and then we'll get this front cover off the engine. One somewhat annoying aspect of working on old iron is your ratchet, box, and open end wrenches. This is too fat to get on your fasteners. There's not quite enough clearance. So you got to resort to the old school box stand open end wrench so you can, if I can get through all this paint. One of my pet peeves is painted fasteners. Okay, so that paint off of there. Now I can get my box stand on there. That one fits. This one's too fat. That looks a little crusty in there. Yeah, that's concerning, but not unexpected. I don't know if you can see that or not. Sorry about the crappy camera work. That is pretty sludgy in there. The aroma when you break one of these old engines apart is very distinct. Heavy on the second half of that word, distinct. That old paraffin-based oil, it's not unpleasant, but it's different. And as you can see, there's a lot of sludge because all that old paraffin oil would just stick to stuff and then just start building up. Although there is a lot of sludge in here, I'm sure all the oil passages are plugged. The gears look beautiful. I'm not seeing any signs of chipping or spalling or anything like that. I am thinking that the weld repair on that cover laying there, I'm thinking sometime in the past there had to have been a catastrophic failure. And at first I was thinking there was timing chain and gear, but nope, it's all gear in here. And I'm thinking there must have been some kind of a failure and something let go and busted that cover. And I'm thinking they replaced these gears. I mean, that's what it looks like. We'll know more as we tear into this a little farther. But the next phase, before I pull the starter and start breaking out, taking out the last of the bolts holding the engine on, I've got to build a support stand to attach to this bell housing. It is hotter than a $2 pistol. Mid-90s today, going to be triple digits tomorrow and the next couple of days. That's usually not bad here, but we had a heck of a monsoon gully washer come blowing through yesterday and yesterday evening, and we just got deluged with rain, and of course our humidity came way up, and so now it's sticky, muggy, and buggy. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna have to cut it off here. I wanted to get a little farther than I did. I wanted to get going on the support stand for the bell housing, but I'm out of time for the next few days. I got some other stuff I got to take care of, so this is where I'm going to cut it off right here. We'll pick back up in the next video with us building a support stand, and then finally getting the engine block off of that bell housing and start diving in. So yeah, that'll be the next video. We've got Power from the Past has got another event coming up here in a couple of weeks, the St. David Pioneer Days. I think I'm going to take the green bean to that one. I've got some work to do to the pump jack trailer, and I'm just not going to get that. It's a lot of stuff I'm not getting to this summer. It's just been one of those summers, you know. But anyway, there'll be a video coming up on that, and that should be fun. So welcome again, new subscribers. Picked up some more. Glad you're here. Hope you enjoy hanging around here on the channel with the rest of us crazy old scrap fanatics. Existing subscribers, as always, hoping you're still enjoying the content and hanging around. And so yeah, next video we're going to start building a support stand. So I guess it's time to say sayonara. We'll see you later, everybody. Bye for now.